and welcome to Found in AI. I am Cassie Clark, an AI search visibility consultant and the host of the show where we talk about AEO, GEO, AI search optimization, and everything in between. If you are watching from YouTube, which you are, these are now YouTube videos I am slowly working through editing and putting them all up. You've landed on the back catalog. The full episode with the intro and the outro lives on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and it'll be linked in the description below. But the conversation, like the real meat of what we were talking about, that's all right here. Let's get into it.
My name is Jonathan Bentz, and I am a growth strategist for direct online marketing in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. Okay, so it's currently February. How cold are you right now? I know this is unrelated, but
Well, it's not as bad right now as it was.
yeah, it's been rough.
But yeah, here in, certainly here in the western, eastern, Pittsburgh is in a weird spot, right? Where it's like, it is Midwest, but it's also still in the mid-Atlantic at the same time. So yeah, we are in a season, to timestamp us a little bit. We're in a season where we just had Fern come through and ice storms. I have a parfait of ice and snow outside my door, but we're trekking along anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so when I put out a call that I was looking for guests, you in the form, you said most teams misunderstand where AI's trust comes from.
Yes.
They treat AI search as a content production problem, not unlike the content is king SEO approach, believing that if they just publish enough AI-friendly content on their site, they will be cited. You want to explain that for a second?
Yeah, you're right. I did. Man, that was a very eloquent message that I typed into that submission. I I have conversations every single week, whether it's with existing clients at our agency or prospective clients at our agency that want to get a game plan together for AI search.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm seeing, as we're going through those conversations, a lot of times the belief is that it's an extension of an on-site content strategy, or just an extension of search engine optimization, the way we're all kind of used to thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's always in traditional SEO, there's always been that mantra of content is king. And so if you continue to scale content production on your own site, treat your own website like you would treat if you were a media team or a media publishing company, that in the long term, you're going to win. I don't know if that's the case anymore.
And that kind of pushes back on the whole theory. I had a client a couple months ago, and they're like, to be recognized, and this was really before the whole AI search conversation, but they're like, to be recognized, you have to be a media company. Sure, you might sell software, but now you're also media. That kind of pushes back on that a little.
It does, because from what I have seen, to really have success in AI search, you actually need to have really, from our perspective, 3 different disciplines put together, to have 3 marketing disciplines together to have success with AI search.
And what are those 3 disciplines that you're seeing?
Great. Thank you for asking that. So there is an element of traditional SEO that goes along with that. So you will have your technical, and there are going to be content additions that you need to make to pages. And there probably are some content gaps where you need to have new articles, or to that analogy about treating your marketing team like a media and publishing company, having that regular content production happening, that needs to be done. Content needs to load fast, all of the traditional SEO stuff. But the other 2 elements that don't always get considered if you're just thinking about SEO are reputation management. What we know traditionally is reputation management and digital PR. And those three disciplines coming together to form your AI search strategy seems to be the right mix. In this day and time, that seems to be the right mix to go from being an entity to being a cited, trustworthy entity, and then ultimately a recommended entity when someone is asking the AI tools to recommend a solution or a service or a business.
So we've talked a little bit about digital PR on this podcast. Do you have any other recommendations other than like going to use Quoted or help a reporter out Haro or any of those? Aside
So
from just maybe hiring a PR team to do it for you. Like if we are on a shoestring budget, what is your suggestion?
I have seen that. I've seen all of those approaches be taken. By the way, the original founder of Help a Reporter Out has gone back in and started a second source for Help a Reporter Out. So if your listeners aren't familiar with that, go find Peter Shankman online and check out his new he basically went ahead and redid what he originally did with Help a Reporter Out. So go check that one out. Yes, Quoted is great. Yes, Haro is great, but there's another one emerging and it's very legitimate. So check that one out.
Okay.
The other strategy that we are seeing in addition to digital PR and earned media being a portion of that is the mass production of consistent information. So thinking about that from a PR perspective, make sure that you're putting press releases out through some type of wire service.
Okay.
I don't care if your business is spending $1,000 a release or $100 a release. If you want that consensus of information to be present in AI search, you need to be the provider of that information to drive that consensus.
It's really interesting that you bring that up because I attended PodFest a couple weeks ago, and so many of the sessions I attended said, for your podcast, you need to be pushing out a PR release somewhere, a press release, push it out. And I had not heard that one, granted, newbie podcaster, but it was interesting. So I want to go back to reputation management because that
Yes.
is also very specific. Now, when you say reputation management, what do you mean exactly?
There are sources of information. The AI tools like to go to resources and will trust resources where they can build a lot of consensus efficiently.
Reddit.
So Reddit is one.
Reddit is one of them.
There's also an API with some financial consideration taken into account with the prevalence of Reddit, but I'm not here for that podcast today. But thinking about this in the SaaS, just use an example in the SaaS industry. So in the SaaS industry, you look at G2 as a mass collection of information and on a lot of different sources. You look at Capterra, you look at TrustRadius, you look at those other publishing sites, review sites previously owned by Gartner that G2 has now recently acquired. And you take those, and because those bots can go out and process all of that information in a structured way and all of that information from one source in an efficient manner, those platforms now, what is being said on those platforms now matters. It's always mattered, but it now matters even more because those AI tools are using platforms like those as a way to quickly establish consensus on what you're saying on your website or what some of these tertiary sources are saying. And if you have low ratings or bad reviews on some of those mass produced platforms, mass published platforms, you're going to struggle to have your message trumped over some of those other messages.
So, one of the things I've been thinking about lately is who owns GEO within an organization. And
Mm,
I've been thinking about how it really spans far beyond SEO to
yes.
both your social team, which most organizations have a social team, but is it
Mhm.
aligned with the message that you're trying to send out? And I think
Mm.
some struggle there. But I've also been thinking about how customer service now really plays a part in this. Because if your customer service is bad, what happens when you have a poor customer experience? What do those people do?
Right. You don't have a lot of people going online to leave reviews for a mid experience, or you will, right? Statistically, it'll always be the polar ends, right? You
Hmm.
knocked it out of the park and you delivered great customer service, or you
Hmm.
missed the mark and you delivered really bad customer service. And those are going to impact those. And so, yeah, I think it's a volume. You're right. I think there's an element of customer service that can play into that, or they need to be. It needs to be the customer experience, customer support department needs to be mindful of that as they're crafting their messaging and their communications and their how they're enabling their team to move with autonomy.
Hmm.
So you're right about that. How are they delivering client delight? That's going to matter. The other thing that's going to matter too is the a unified message coming down from leadership or from a communications department where, to your point, a lot of this stuff has been self-contained in marketing.
Hmm.
Sometimes marketing and communications are in alignment, but also sometimes at companies they kind of they move in kind of
Parallel,
like
they're
this.
not like,
Yeah,
yeah, they're
they
not
move. They're
together.
they're kind of overlapping with each other, and so I think having that, it's always great to have a alignment in business, but that messaging, that core messaging, having that aligned with your PR, your communications, your marketing, all the way down through social, and then even over into customer service and customer experience is a great consideration as well.
Yeah, so the rest of your message in your form said to me, AI search visibility is actually a validation problem. AI models don't just look at what you say about yourself, they look about at what the rest of the digital ecosystem in your niche says about you.
Yes.
So if you're noticing that you have a reputation management problem, so everyone
Mhm.
is in the comments on Capterra or G2 and they're just really trashing really trashing your service or
Yeah,
your
right.
product, what do you do? What do you do? How do you fix it?
Great question. Great comment. What the approach that we're recommending right now
Hmm.
is a is is a blast approach. Like, you need to be more active in having the message that you want out in the market to be prevalent. So, is there an element to that where you're using some of those top cited websites to influence that? Yes, that's a part of it. Digital PR is going to play a role in that. One of my favorite analogies and expectation sets for companies considering this, as whether it's an extension of their SEO or it's a net new campaign for them, is that your website, the one that you hold so dear when you get people in, to the AI bots, that's just one entity.
Hmm.
There is so much other stuff out there on the internet, and they're going to use your website, but they're not going to trust you as the only source of truth.
Hmm.
So they're going to go out and generate that consensus. how are you going to go about generating that consensus? Are you going to create so much noise in another direction that the noise ultimately becomes the signal? Right. And that's through the digital PR pushes and some of those things. Or are you going to take a more intentional surgical approach to keep building positivity on some of those most frequently cited platforms? Ultimately, I think it's a balance of both. Our service offering at Direct Online Marketing just happens to cover both. But I think it's going to be that right balance and that right mix of both to ultimately accomplish the goal.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about AI search optimization or generative search optimization, whatever you want to call it. I think what's interesting is there are so many different facets to this. Like you can do one thing really well forever and ever and it might work, but there's also 100 other different strategies that you can also implement. So last
Yes.
question for you. If a team could only fix one thing in the 90 days to improve their AI visibility, what would you prioritize and why?
Well, I mean, the perfect answer is it varies. But
No, no, that is not a perfect answer.
it's not a perfect answer for this question. I my recommendation to that would be the digital PR stuff, maybe ahead of anything else.
Mhm.
So if you do have, if you are the type of business that only wants to put press releases out if it is content that you expect is going to be picked up by the media, you're missing the point. With at least in 2026, you're missing the point.
Mhm.
So having a regular public press release publication and announcement schedule, anything that you could put out into the market that is worth commenting on, my recommendation at this point is to try to put that out. So are you making strategic hires? You're right. In the greater maybe in the grand scheme of media, of media pickup, that's only important to the person's hometown and their regional chamber of commerce that you made a strategic hire. But put that message out onto the web as a whole. Why? Because you get that chance to have your boilerplate republished. You get the chance to mention your brand in the market and what messaging you want out there. And you have hundreds of publications of that, and get into some kind of rhythm at least once a month, more frequently if you can accommodate that, but at the very least once a month have some type of message going out into the market so that you can consistently have a mass publication of that message that you want to be adopted by the AI search tools.
Yeah. And that message should be consistent across every press release that gets put out.
100, yeah, 100%. Your PR and communications team, however you have that structured, from consultant or freelancer down to a dedicated staff, they should be mindful of what's in that about a business section and have some kind of consistent reiterative message throughout the body of that press release, because you want that message to become the new standard for your business. And you have the ability with that high volume publication to influence what AI search tools are learning about your business.
That's a wrap on this one. If you want the full episode, including the intro, the outro, and what to do about what you just learned, find the full episode wherever you get your podcast. I will link it in the description, most likely to Spotify. If this was useful, I would love it if you would subscribe. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday. I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay visible.